Look, I'm not trying to scare you, but death is coming. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it's definitely something none of us can outrun. At least for now. For years, humans have been desperately trying to escape death, either through science or rituals. And while we're in the process of working that out, it's safe to say that, in the meantime, the clock remains ticking. We just don't know when it will stop. And when time runs out for you, it is believed that a tall, dark figure, dressed in a pitch black cloak, would appear to get you.
The Grim Reaper.
Today on Lore Thrill, we're going to explore the origins of death personified, the Grim Reaper, often depicted sporting a long, black and tattered robe, as well as carrying a scythe, while traveling on the back of a ghostly white horse. The Grim Reaper is much a what, as it is a matter of who. We don't just say who is the Grim Reaper, but we also ask, what does it represent? And to answer that, well, the Grim Reaper is best known as a personification of death, basically the image that automatically comes to your mind when you think of dying. Some works portray the Grim Reaper as a skeletal figure, draped in a loose, hooded cloak. On the contrary, others say that nothing but a dark void lurks beneath the wrappings. But whichever depiction you might choose to go with, the job of the Grim Reaper remains the same. Strangely enough, this spectral entity really isn't as evil as he looks. To be fair, whenever he comes, he's just performing his duty. And it is to guide departed souls to the place after death, to maintain the order of nature. It's not as if he's the one calling the shots. Even so, the Grim Reaper, also known as the Angel of Death, and the imagery he carries, still sends chills down our spines to this day. A recognizable horror icon in modern pop culture. Where did it all start for death personified? Believe it or not, the name Grim Reaper didn't make an appearance until the year 1847, with The Circle of Human Life, Robert Menzies' partial translation of an 1841 German book called Stunden Christlicher Andacht. However, when the origin of the concept itself is concerned, all would be credited to the then worst pandemic in history, the Black Death. It was the 14th century Afro-Eurasia bubonic plague pandemic called the Black Death that forever changed the game for what we know as the Grim Reaper. Starting from 1346, the Black Death claimed around 75 to 200 million lives in its whole run. The major culprit for its spread? The poor understanding of how transmission takes place, as well as the absence of vaccines and modern medicine. So as you can probably imagine, with that amount of deaths, bodies were everywhere, piled up in the streets and in varying stages of decomposition. It was nothing like people of the medieval period had ever seen before. They were so afraid of death coming for them and their loved ones without warning that the widely known image of the Grim Reaper was born. When you don't know whether you or your loved ones would survive a strange, never-before-seen pestilence, it's easy to fear death. Artists and writers of the Middle Ages translated this fear into their works. Drawing an unusual inspiration from the decaying bodies on the road, death was ultimately portrayed in the shape of a man. And not just any man, but one that was once like them, alive. Skeletons are symbolic of death. It easily represents the human body after it has perished. And this gesture of choosing to paint the Grim Reaper as a skeleton humanized death, one of the most abstract concepts for mankind, and the growing fear around it. From movies and TV shows to artworks and books, the Grim Reaper has no doubt become the most iconic personification of death we have today. Up to this day, pop culture still produces works that pay homage to the archetypal Grim Reaper. And while recent appearances of the hooded figure draw him in a less petrifying light, contrary to its dark origin, the impact it has not only in modern pop culture but also in our entire history is certainly something that will never die. The harvester of lives, death in human form, the Grim Reaper, the image of the cloaked skeleton in the back of our minds, is an imprint of the past horrors humanity has endured, waiting for us in the future, and presently saying, "As I am, so you too will be." Thank you for joining us on our journey into darkness. My name is Sid Myers. Welcome to Lore Thrill. If you'd like more information or to read more about the Grim Reaper, join us at lorethrill.com. Sleep tight.